In one of the largest cities on the planet, breathing air is a serious risk.
They have to visit once a week, twice a week.
Especially for the very young and the old. In a continuing struggle to control pollution from industry and automobiles, Mexico City faces a deadly threat.
This is more than an environmental problem. It's a health problem also.
At the National Institute of Pediatrics in Mexico City, wards are filled with children suffering from asthma and other chronic respiratory illnesses.
Rhinoconjunctivitis, otitis, cough infection, bronchitis, asthma.
Dr. Jose Huerta Lopez is the chief of the Department of Allergy Diseases here.
And all of these are for allergy patients, and especially in asthmatics. They are making now skin tests in order to find what is the causes of the allergies. ¿No tienen ninguno?
For years, making his rounds in these wards, Dr. Huerta has seen a dramatic increase in the number of young patients here. Children with serious medical conditions affecting their ability to breathe.
Some of them, they have to visit once a week, twice a week, or every 10 days. What about these patients? They are twins?
They are twins.
11-year-old brothers Daniel and Edgar Resendez have suffered from asthma since they were infants. Last night, Daniel awoke with an uncontrollable cough, lasting for nearly an hour. His worried mother has brought both of her sons to the hospital for yet another checkup.
They live in a part of the city where air pollution is very high.
For these two boys and hundreds of thousands of other children in this city, their ability to breathe is severely restricted by the quality of the air around them. They're frequently choking on air pollution. One of the largest concentrations of human beings on the planet, Mexico City lies in a basin nearly surrounded by mountains. Almost 21 million people live here, producing more than 30% of Mexico's industrial output in this valley, and driving more than 3 million vehicles on its streets every day. Ideal conditions for some of the worst air pollution on Earth. In hospitals and clinics across the city, the consequences of air pollution are recorded every day.
¿Cómo? No poder correr. She's desperate because she can run, she can play. She has to come here to receive treatment. This is the reason she's a little depression, because she wants to run and play, especially in weekends.
Family weekends in the parks are a tradition here. After days of hard work or school, people enjoy physical activity and recreation. But on most days in this city, exercising and taking deep breaths is not what the doctor recommends, especially for children who breathe faster with lungs that are still developing. Extensive research has linked airborne pollutants to respiratory infections, chronic respiratory illness, and aggravation of existing cardiovascular disease.
Practically all children do have limits on their lung function when they continuously breathe polluted air.
Dr. Mario Molina is a Nobel Prize-winning specialist in atmospheric chemistry.
Asthma is perhaps a complicated issue in that children develop it anyhow, even in clean cities, but it's a lot harder to deal with in a polluted city, and they get many more attacks, and they have to go to the physician much more often.
Scientists say air pollution alone does not kill, but that people breathing polluted air will very likely die sooner. And the most vulnerable are not only children.
Yo cuando tengo mi crisis de mi asma, los médicos me
Guadalupe Alvarez Rodriguez suffers from asthma. She says on badly polluted days, she has coughing fits and labored breathing, like her lungs are filled with flames. These are not just irritating problems. For many victims, they're deadly. Today, Daniel and Edgar were treated with nasal washes and bronchial sprays, and their mother hopes this will stabilize her son's conditions. Until next time. On a rooftop, a technician removes a filter from a device that has captured particles in the air during the previous 24 hours. The contrast to a clean filter is dramatic.
That's 24 hours of
air. It's 24 hours of operation of the high volume device.
This is what people here are breathing. At official monitoring stations across Mexico City, a network of sampling instruments tracks levels of fine particles and reports hourly measurements of selected polluting gases they find in the air, especially ozone and compounds of nitrogen and sulfur, frequently far in excess of levels considered acceptable for health. Studies show the main source of most pollution here is the internal combustion engine, but industries and power plants are also major contributors. At this high altitude, more than 2,200 meters above sea level, lower atmospheric oxygen results in incomplete burning of fuel in engines and higher emissions of carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrous oxides, and other compounds. Under intense sunlight, many of these gases are transformed by photochemical reactions into still more toxic pollutants, sulfates, nitrates, and ozone.
The lung and the heart is normal, but there is a small overdistensions. It's maybe is consequences of the chest respiratory problems.
At ground level, high ozone concentrations irritate nasal, throat, and bronchial tissues and attack the body's immune system. And then there are particle emissions from industrial sources as well as motor vehicles, especially diesel trucks and buses. Ultrafine particle matter often contains heavy metals, taken deep into lungs and easily absorbed into the body. Particle pollution is especially toxic and has been shown to be directly related to cardiovascular diseases. In the early 1990s, air pollution in Mexico City reached a critical stage. On most days, the capital was covered by layers of brown haze, poisonous clouds of chemicals and fine particles.
It was hard to breathe, and your eyes would become watery when just being in Mexico City. Yeah, Mexico City in the early 1990s was one of the most polluted cities in the world, if not the most polluted.
20 years ago, we have this big black air in Mexico City.
Martha Delgado is a prominent environmental activist. She says the growing threat from polluted air had become too visible and immediate to be ignored.
Birds started to die in the streets, and people started also to see that the kids were sick every day and have health problems.
On extremely polluted days, Authorities in Mexico City declared environmental contingencies and took emergency measures, urging factories to scale back production, suspending schoolyard activities, and restricting the number of cars on the roads. In 1993, there were 12 contingencies. 2 years later, there were only 5. But during the entire year of 1995, only 49 days had levels of ozone and particulates within normal levels. People in the city were routinely breathing poisoned air. In every hospital, cases of respiratory distress and acute asthma were skyrocketing. Especially among children who played outside, X-rays showed increasing lung abnormalities.
There are doctors that recommend some people to leave Mexico City, and they said if you want to live your last 10 years in a good health status, you have to leave.
Air pollution had become a major hazard to public health, affecting everyone here, and there were growing demands for authorities to take action to clean up the air. Coming up, after years of waging a serious campaign to reduce air pollution, why are the people of Mexico City still breathing invisible and dangerous contamination?